He said, you are the captain of your ship. You create your destiny. Change your thinking, change your life. And I'm like, whoa, is that real?
This is The Spiritual Way. I'm Reverend Mark Anthony Lord, and this is hosted by Unity Naples. And tonight, I have a very, very special friend who is here to speak with us and teach us and share her journey. Reverend Cynthia James. She is a minister. I studied with her at Agape Spiritual Center. We were there at the same time, and we were in the same ministerial school, graduated together, and it just was one of the most joyous, amazing experiences of my life. And from the moment I met her, she is just pure power and truth and strength. And she really will bring out the best in those that are around her. I mean, it's undeniable. And if you shy away from her, she'll just come and get you and pull you right into your power. She does amazing work with women around the world. She's a phenomenal spiritual coach. And even as a friend, I've used her as also a spiritual coach and counselor. And the grace and the acceptance and the love that she brings is so healing. So please join me in right where you are, like applaud in your own home as we welcome Reverend Cynthia James.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Mark.
Hey, thank you for being here tonight.
I'm so excited to be with you always.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Tonight, we're actually talking about the healing power of creativity. And I think you're such an example, your life journey of healing and the creative gift that was just in you from a very young child is very inspiring. I really feel like that's what God planted in you to get you through, I think, but so I would love for you to begin by sharing your story of where you come from with the people here so they can get to know you and just hear who you are and where you come from.
Well, I'd be happy to do that. I was born in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, actually, about 6 blocks from where the incident with George Floyd happened. And we were on welfare. It was intense. My biological father was an alcoholic, and my stepfather was a wife beater and a pedophile. And so my whole experience up until I was like 7 years old was dramatic and violent. And I thought that was the norm. And I thought that that's how everybody acted and what happened in every family. And you're right. Creativity was my salvation. I would dress up and, act out stuff no matter what. My mother told the story of how an insurance man had come to her house, and I decided to entertain him. And so I tied her bra to my head and I danced down the stairs and gave a show. And she was like mortified, right? But, and I sang. And so we didn't have money and I couldn't be in with the in crowd in that way. But my singing and my performing opened the doors for me to be connected to people when I was in high school. I feel like I didn't know I was a writer until much later, but I knew there was something in me that I could take concepts and I could explain them to people easily, even when I was younger. And I feel that was part of my creative way of being. And so I sang in the choir. I did all these things that actually I think they were really to get me out of the house. But it was an outlet of expression, because in my familial experience, it wasn't so safe to express or to speak your truth or to stand up. So I feel like there have been many times in my life since my childhood that, I'll be creative and then I'll kind of move away from it and then it'll kind of yank me back. So the fact that I became an actress and worked in Hollywood for many years, just made sense to me because it was an outlet for me and I could bring characters through me that could express feelings that I may have been too shy or not courageous enough to bring.
Yeah. My experience of also being traumatized as a child was that, and I worked in the entertainment world too, but that overlay of pain was always, I mean, it was always there. Like I had a good front, but underneath I was really, and I was pretty broken. Was that your experience?
Oh yeah. And I became the world's greatest chameleon. You could have talked to people that dated me and they would have told you different people because I became what they needed in that moment,
Who do you
right?
want me to be? Who do you want me to be?
Exactly. Exactly. And so, but there was an underlying rage and upset that would pop out, so people would be like, wait a minute, you're not the person I thought you were. And so when I went into therapy and started doing spiritual work, it was all about healing that part and that wounded child that felt abandoned and unseen and unheard.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that for me too, I mean, again, we're so similar. That really was the impetus for my spiritual journey. Would you say the same? That it
Mhm.
was the pain that pushed you?
Oh yeah. I mean, at one point, relationships had been a kind of a path of discovery for me. And, I was in yet another failed relationship and I could hardly get out of bed. And this woman said, you might want to go to this place called guidance. It's a science mind community, but it might help you. And so I got myself dressed somehow and I walk in the door and the minister there was Daniel Morgan, and he was this little black man, and he's up there with no notes, just talking with, and he said, "You are the captain of your ship. You create your destiny. Change your thinking, change your life." And I'm like, "Whoa, is that real?" Right? And Michael Beckwith was one of his practitioners.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's right. You were at the inception of Agape.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So that's where it began for you. Walking into that church was when you started the new thought journey.
Yeah, and I somehow something in me said I needed to take classes. And so I would put on a baseball cap or whatever and get in my car and go. And I didn't understand Ernest Holmes at all. And I didn't understand everything they were saying. But I kept thinking, well, if what they're saying is true, I can change my life.
A great spiritual counselor and coach and healer is what I consider you to be, is because you walked the path. I mean, that's not just words for you. You know that someone can become who they're meant to be.
Exactly. In fact, that's our destiny. That encoded within us is a design, a divine design. And if we can just open to it, then the portals that we can move through and the things that we can create are infinite.
And you've helped so many people do just that. What are can you sort of distill it down to a few common themes or common things that you've seen people bump into that I've no doubt people here listening are also bumping into?
Well, for sure, relationships have been one. And when you take it down to the foundation of it, it's like worth, their self-worth,
Yep.
and knowing that they deserve to be treated with love and respect and honor, and finding their voice in relationship, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I work with a lot of leaders who know they don't want to be in the old model of leadership, but that's what's expected of them inside the environment. And so finding a way for them to become conscious in leadership and build teams where people get to bring their best and they get to bring an energetic in the field that's positive, as opposed to a negative thing running them. And then I think, people who have a calling and are afraid of it,
Yeah.
because they don't know how, they don't think they have the money, they don't think that it'll matter, that book that wants to be written, or that idea that wants to be created, like they're not up to it, they're not worthy of it. But I just want to say that idea wouldn't be there if you weren't the one to deliver it.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, please hear that, everybody. The idea literally would not be there if it wasn't yours. I mean, that really is you can really bring it down to that. And of course, you and I know a lot of people trip themselves up in the how. They start
Mhm.
to get way too ahead of the game, and they project themselves outward, freak themselves out, and then sit home and eat the bag of chips or do what they do.
I've done that.
Yes, yes, for sure, for sure. So you also, your book, What Will Set You Free? That's the name of your book. Yes. Will you tell us about what inspired you to write that, what that's about, and how that can help people on their journey?
All the way through, therapy and science of mind classes and spiritual workshops and all that, um, I wanted to help people, and I kept hearing that I should do something. And so I started creating little workshops, and themes started coming up. People were like, connected to their story, and the story just kept them hooked. They forgiveness, they didn't know how to move into forgiveness. They didn't know how to find their own voice. And so I started tracking them, and there were like 7 of them. And people would say, well, can you give us some notes? So I'd give a handout. Then they'd say, well, can you write some more of that down? So I want to say to anybody who's thinking about a book, it doesn't just drop in like a book,
Yeah.
so finally I kept being told, expand this. And one of my friends, Catherine Woodward Thomas, is an author, and I let her read it. And she said, you need to write more and give them tools. So there's affirmations in there, and there's exercises, and there's meditations, because if you're going to move from pain to passion, which is what we're here to do, we're here to live a passionate life. You have to have steps, because we can't just do it in our minds. And it's connecting to the body as well, because everything that's happened to us has been encoded in the DNA. So it's like you want to open your consciousness and your body and your mind and have them working together.
Yeah. When we were talking earlier this week, you said something that just went inside of me in a very positive way, because you put words on what was happening that I didn't have, which is something like people are depressed. I mean, I think that's all that but it was like you spoke to the depression that's happening right now. And I didn't have those words and I didn't have that context, but it immediately felt true. And I felt like an opening inside of me. So would you please share for people here about that and what that means for you? And,
Yeah, I mean, there are studies going on right now saying that by 2050, a huge amount of population on this planet are going to be depressed, because we don't have the tools and the skills to be able to tap into our feelings and our emotions, and learning how to express them and learning how to move through them. And for me, depression, if it were a coin, the flip side is expression. Something isn't expressed. Something needs to be expressed, and you may not know how. And sometimes it's so painful that you would rather numb yourself out drinking or drugging or sexing or whatever it is that you do, so you don't have to feel it. But then it's still there.
Yeah.
And so it starts to pull you energetically down. And so some people call it anxiety, some people call it depression, but it's really because you don't have the outlet to let whatever is there emerge and come up to come out.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite Gospel of Thomas quote is, if you do not bring forth that which is within you, that which is within you will destroy you. If you bring forth what is within you, that which is within you will save you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's really what you're talking about. Like, it's like if they can find a way, if we all can find that way to just express and to get it moving, that's where it starts to shift.
Yeah, because you know what? Shame and blame is all attached in there. And let me just say, if God is love, then there's nothing to be ashamed of.
Amen.
So it's like you are just moved and made choices, and they may not have worked and they may not have served, but you get to choose again.
Yeah. 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 I love what you said, because that was, when I was immersed in shame in my younger years and it ran my life, I kept all these secrets because I really thought that's who I was. But when, my evolution of letting God, my attachment to it became less and less. And now I can just own what I did, or it's just much easier to love myself in the midst of falling down. And I couldn't do that before. When I would fall down, it was devastating. Everything had an emergency, 10 on it. If I did something embarrassing, it went right to shame.
Well, yeah, because that goes right back into that self-worth thing, and so I mean I totally can relate to that because me too, and secrets are toxic. I mean, secrets are like cancers living within you that just keep being fed.
One more thing that I want you to share about, and we didn't get to doing it here, but that's okay. I still want you to talk about it. In your work, and I've seen you do this brilliantly, movement is really a key component of your work in helping people become free. Can you talk about why movement is important for them, for people to do every day?
Yeah, so write this down, everybody. Movement is medicine. that that in indigenous tribes, they are always playing drums when they move. And when I did research, I found out that drums balance the hemispheres of the brain, balance blood pressure, and balance the adrenal system. So whenever I give a talk, whenever I do a workshop, whenever I'm doing work with anybody, there's always movement, because and let me just give you an example in this moment. Just close your eyes and just feel your body and notice where you're tense. Notice where it's tight. Is it your shoulders, your neck? Is it your back? Where are you tight? So now we don't have drums in this moment, but I want you to just start. I'm going to snap my fingers. I want you to just start moving your body. And as you're moving, I want you to breathe into your body, breathe into your heart, breathe into your solar plexus. Oh yeah, breathe into your neck, breathe. Come on and breathe. Yeah, and move your arms, move your shoulders, breathe. Breathe, yes, come on, breathe. Yeah, open, let the body open and breathe and breathe. Now stop right where you are, breathe into your body. Can you feel just in that 45 seconds, your body starts to open? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Think what would happen if 3 to 5 minutes a day, you just put on your favorite music and moved.
Please hear that, everybody. I think that is profoundly healing. You want to shift your energy, move for 3 to 5 minutes a day. Just, and even just when you had us do that, it's like, throughout the day, the body, and as we get older, I think it is even more so, it just like contracts. There's so little movement. I think, the body has over 300 possibilities of movement. We probably do 15 in a day.
Right. So, and now that we're in quarantine, it's probably even less.
Yeah, 7. Cynthia, would you share with us your work with women? That has become a primary focus for you. And I think there's a lot of women who follow me. So I'm sure they'd love to know about ways that they can work with you or know what you're up to.
Yeah, that's why I want to talk about just opening the field, because I had been doing a lot of different things, but I had a social media person come and said, "Are you aware that 85% of the people that follow you are women?" Yeah. I was like, "No." And so she said, "Well, maybe you should be talking to them." And so I feel like on the planet in this moment, the feminine is rising and emerging. And you know, in the early 1900s, until the early 1900s, we were considered property, and our only thing was to procreate and to be inside the house. And now women's voices are coming out in extraordinary ways. And
Yeah.
so I love working with women. I started a company called Women Creating Our Futures, and you can go to womencreatingourfutures.com. And we have a conference. We have an entrepreneur program for a year for women who are entrepreneurs. We help them build their businesses for a year. We have a 3-month mastermind. We do lots of programs to help women be in a tribe with other women who are like-minded, and to bring their ideas and gifts forward. And then we help them. We bring in experts to help them take it to the next level.
Mm-hmm. That's huge. I mean, that's really huge. I hope that, you know, please hear this. Like, I put that in the chat box, womencreatingourfuture.com. Is that it?
Futures. Women Creating Our Futures.
Futures with an S. Create. I'm going to rewrite this, creatingourfutures.com. Please check that out. And what I love about that, and I've seen it in my own life, is, you know, you get into a room with other possibility thinkers and you just let yourself get there. And the energy of the group is greater than the individual. It just lifts up and produces miracles. I'm sure I've never been to your event, but I have no doubt that miracles happen. Creativity is that which will set us free. And I'd love for you to speak on that and how you've used creativity to help your clients.
So the first thing I want to say is that we're always creating. The thing is, are we creating consciously or unconsciously? Are we awake or are we asleep? You know, and are we tuned in to the infinite? You know, I mean, we're you know, the universe is creative, God is creative, and so we're co-creators. And so the thing is like, what I want to say is, some people think creativity is only singing or dancing or writing a book. That's not it. You can create in a corporate environment. You can be creative and innovative and bring new things into form. So the first thing I say is to my clients is, let's look at your energy. Is it below the line where you're in fear or doubt, or those energies that can bring you down? Or are they above the line where you're excited, enthusiastic, and open to creativity? And you know that by your body, because if your body is tight and anxiety filled, then that flow doesn't happen. I was telling Mark Anthony the other day that one of the things that I do is, you know, non-dominant handwriting. You can have a conversation, and this is so interesting. You know, your right brain and your left brain operate differently, right? And so your left brain kind of supports the right side of the body, and the right side forms the left side. So you can have a conversation, you can get still, you can move inside, and you can ask a question. And then with your dominant hand, write the answer. Go back in, ask the same question, and let your non-dominant hand write. Now, it probably won't be great handwriting, you know?
Probably.
But it will give you different perspective.
Yeah.
And you can do that for a period of time so that you really can go deeper and deeper into that question, or the questions that you have. When I was doing mine, you know, I found out that my dominant hand was the part that was, you know, wanted to save me as a child. And so, you know, got very protective and did all kinds of things to save me. But the left hand, which is my non-dominant hand, was the one that was more connected to my wisdom, that was more connected to my sage. And so finding a way for my dominant side to stop beating it up and pushing it in the closet and let it come out and express was part of the work. But there's freedom in that, because when both are operating in balance, there's something extraordinary that can happen. And the other thing is to draw your feelings. In What Will Set You Free, there's a chapter in there, and you can see some of my drawings. And I told Mark Anthony, nobody will ever hire me as an artist. But I got to draw the feelings, because, there was a lot of hurt and mental, physical, and spiritual hurt when I was a kid. And I drew a picture of us being outside of the house where there had been so much damage and having joy on our faces from freedom. There's something powerful. Just get some crayons, some pens, and just draw, just for you to get out the feelings. And you will be surprised how much energy there are in the things that you draw.
So my last question to you is, I would love for you to speak to the crisis of our time, the political divide, the Black Lives Matter, there's just so much, the pandemic, for gosh sakes, like there's so much happening right now. How do you, from your spiritual perspective, what thoughts do you have, and what would you tell people on what spiritual practice can you give them to support them in this time?
Like I said, I grew up in Minneapolis. Redlining was the norm. We were only allowed to live in a certain area. We weren't allowed to rent or buy outside of that area. And so I think people are confused, because I've heard all lives matter, all lives matter. Yes, they do. But 400 years ago, Africans were brought here against their will. They were enslaved. And systems were set up, even after the Civil War, systems were set up to keep them enslaved, to keep them institutionalized and poor. And so what's happening today, never in my life have I seen what I'm seeing today. I am seeing people all over the world, especially young people, come out into the streets and say, enough.
Yeah.
We all deserve love. We all deserve respect. We all deserve a home. We all deserve food. We all deserve education. And so I think that from a spiritual perspective, this pandemic, I think, is a transformative gift for a revolution of the heart. That we are being called and quarantined, in fact, to go, what do we really believe? How do we really want to walk on this planet? How do we really want to stand? And I want to say to white people who are listening to this, get educated. The education of what happened in this country was taken out of the schools. So you wouldn't know all the things that have been happening for Black people or Latinos or Native Americans or women, in fact. Get educated. And find out, how do you want to serve? Because not everybody wants to be out with placards. I get that.
Yep.
But do you vote? I was on a podcast and this woman said, it was Iyanla Vanzant. She said, get 9 people that you know to commit to vote. If everybody got 9 people to vote, whoever you're voting for, it would bring an energy. And so I feel like this is an incredible time for cultural intimacy. We get to know each other. We get to love each other. We get to, when all of this happened, I got so many calls from my Caucasian friends and colleagues going, okay, I'm clueless. I'm over here in a bubble. I need to do something. And it's so have conversations. Once a month, I have these conversations with women. They call conversations of the heart. And we talk about these topics because having conversations in a safe place where you know that you can bring your truth, you can bring your fears, you can bring your uncertainty. That's how we get to love each other. We are connected and interconnected. If we didn't know it before the pandemic, we know it now.
So please, everyone, check out her website here, cynthiajames.net. She also has a Monday. Is it once a week? Your Facebook circle?
Prayer circles, community prayer circles on Monday mornings at 8:30 Mountain Time. And it's on my Facebook public figure page. And we have people from all over the world come in to pray.
And Cynthia, thank you so much. Shall we do a prayer together?
Oh, I would love.
Awesome. I don't even know where we're going to go. We don't need to worry about it. It's improv. We're going to improv pray together. So those who are here, invite you to take a deep breath. Close your eyes. breathing in the life and the love of God. I begin by knowing that God is. God is the love. God is the infinite power. God is the grace. God is the life, the never-ending eternal life. And God is the source and the sustenance, that life that keeps on giving and growing, and that love that can never be diminished or tarnished. These, all that I'm saying, points to the life of God. And even the words fail. God is. And I know that I'm one with this power and presence, as I know that we all are. And for my place of oneness, I affirm that the wisdom that Cynthia brought to us tonight for each one of us goes deeper within us, and it causes the transformation, and it wakes up that which is ready to be seen, to be given up, to be drawn, to be written about, to be transformed. I know that tonight we have all been called to a deeper experience of worth, to know our worth, to say yes to our voice, and to have the courage to be who we're here to be and bring out of us what is meant to be given to the world. I claim for every one of us complete freedom from judgment of it, complete freedom from perfectionism. Just let it out. And I surrender for every one of us what it looks like, where it lands. That's not the point. The point is to let it rise up and out and be expressed. That's what I say yes to for each one of us. I'm so grateful to know that this word is fulfilled, and I pass this prayer to Cynthia.
And how wonderful to step into this consciousness of the word so beautifully spoken, to stand in the awareness that right where we are, God is, that there is an energy, a synergy that is flowing right here and right now, corresponding and working for each and every one of us to bring our gifts, our destinies fulfilled, to know that right here and right now, this divine appointment of being together here, that something gorgeous has happened in the heart and as the heart. There is a coalescence of light that is mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and financial. It is happening in every person's life that we are on this planet as a divine appointment at this time. And so we are part of the revolution, the conscious revolution to heal, to love, to reveal more God, to bring more light, to bring our creativity, to bring our voices, to stand for love, to stand for freedom, to stand for passion being revealed. And how wonderful to know that there is nothing standing in the way. Nothing opposes God ever. Therefore, there is nothing opposing us. So we stand in the awareness that every prayer is answered before the word is spoken, that we are healthy, that we are vibrant, that we are vital. We lift up this planet, every man, woman, and child on this planet. We lift up all of the people suffering on any level around this world. And in this moment, love is piercing their experience, and they feel it in and as the heart. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this truth. I released this word. I know it is good and very good. That Mark Anthony Lord's ministry continues to expand and touch the hearts and the souls of many. And that because of that, people are drawn here to be loved, to be seen, to be heard, and to be nurtured. Yes. And so in the let go, I just give thanks and allow the law to do its work and say, and so it is. Amen.
So it is. Amen. Amen. Woo!